Hello.
Hi, everybody. We are live. So happy to be bringing content to you all. Looking forward to being able to chat it out. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. This is Lisa Sowers, CMO of SecureRecruit. I'm here with Amy Knoll, the CEO and co-founder of SecureRecruit. Amy, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Amy. I'm really happy to be here too. This is something that's very helping people to break into cyber is something I'm extremely passionate about. I've been in recruiting for 23 years with 17 years focused on cybersecurity, recruiting, staffing, staff augmentation, and consulting really as well to clients on how to hire, what they need to hire, what they should, how they should look at people coming into the space and the advantages of hiring more junior people to fill some of these unfilled security jobs. So we wanted to jump on here. We were at SquadCon last week in Vegas. It was a long but wonderful week. We met a lot.
Very long, yeah.
It was too long, but it was cool. We met a lot of great people, great companies, great associations. Victoria's Secret was there. Amazon Security. The list goes on and on. So, and as well as some nonprofit groups, kind of like ourselves, where we're partly nonprofit, so about 40%. But it was awesome. It was just awesome to talk with people face to face and get to know some of these newer companies, and also spread the word on, hey, if you can't fill your jobs, then why don't you be a little bit more open-minded and get some junior people in there that have some training and some experience and train them up so they can fill those jobs. It's that, or either wait 9 months to find the person that has 100% of the skills and eventually leave yourself open to, utter destruction in terms of the company. If you don't have a security person in play, your company can, as we all know and we've seen, it can destroy a company. So just making hiring managers aware of the advantages of hiring junior people in security roles. There's a ton of them, and I can go through those. But yeah, this is something, like I said, that's close to my heart, and I know Lisa's as well. We're trying to help the supply problem in cybersecurity, and we want to do our part to help those individuals that are trying to break into cyber, those individuals who are in cyber but want to move forward in their career, interviewing tips, resume tips, things like that. So how to answer questions, whatever you guys would like to hear. This is kind of a ask me anything, as we know, and but we wanted to bring some content to light that we feel like would help everybody. So that's where we are, and this is me. Well, you can't see me, but yeah, I've been in it for a long time. I'm a single mom of a almost 9-year-old boy named Denver, and he is my life besides my work stuff. And yeah, so I'm just happy to do anything I can to help anybody really move into this industry and migrate through it.
I'm just making sure that everyone is with us here, because I'm wondering if we do actually, it says we are live. So if folks can't join us, hopefully they can catch this later, and certainly should be able to, get the information from the replay, and we'll have more of these as well. So just in case folks aren't able to tune in with this today, know that in the post play, we're definitely going to continue doing these, asking more questions. I'm going to go ahead and share it out to a few more channels now, just as we're getting in the swing of it before we start really sharing out a lot of info. Let me see if I can actually put this up on a couple more places in our social media too, and make sure many people as possible.
Can we see anyone?
No, we're not able to get the video.
I mean, like attendees in there.
No, yeah, it doesn't really work like that. So we are going to do our best here.
Okay.
Facebook.
First time trial run. Here we go.
Well, we're trying to do this in a way that's really accessible for folks too, and we thought audio during the workday might be a better way to go, just because we're able to make sure that as many people as possible can access this info. We're going to keep it pretty general, although I know the Break Into Cyber group certainly has a lot of folks that are interested in highly technical roles, red teaming, blue teaming. I hear a ton of people say they want to go into pen testing. And, you know, we want to support folks in whatever path they take. We've certainly got some ideas about which career paths might net you more gains and make it possible for you to get in quicker and get up to speed. And sometimes going in the front door isn't necessarily the way to do it. So just something to be mindful of as we move through this, that the career field you're in may not be one we're speaking directly to. And if it isn't, you know, let us know and we'll bring more content about that later. I'm still asking Amy about the the conversations you kept having in Vegas about, well, if you can just order up one of those pods and unlock it on your front lawn, and if 40 or 50, you know, mid-level engineers just come popping out, then I guess you figured out the solution. But it's really anyone short of that doesn't have a you know, cable car full of security engineers hidden away somewhere really needs to be just as concerned with building this talent pipeline as
Right.
we are, and as the partners that we work with are. So
right. The pod state
yeah,
is,
exactly.
people can see that. It's like, well, what, you know, we're not going to wake up one day and there's going to be pods out in the 50 pods out in the front yard, and there's going to be like 50 middle-aged white dudes that are security analysts popping up to be able to do the job. So let's think outside the box. Let's look at junior people. Let's look at people that are transitioning from IT roles that want to get into cyber. So there's a loyalty that comes from that. And like I said before, if you do find somebody that has 100% of the skills, it's going to take you a long time, but not for nothing. So people are going to be more likely to leave because they have all skills. And recruiters, I mean, I've been a recruiter for a long time. We call into companies and we do try to recruit people out. That's how it goes. So, you know, your senior guy gets a tap on the shoulder from a recruiter and says, hey, you can make, you know, $60,000 more. It's really hard for those people that have been in it for a long time to not listen to that. And typically they'll jump into those next opportunities. But if somebody's junior or transitioning and they're excited about it, passionate about it, that's a better employee for the long term than having somebody that has everything you need. So it's a huge piece of it, and I will continue my saga of trying to educate hiring managers and CEOs, CTOs, CISOs on that piece. So yeah, so let's so that's a big thing. So I'm not sure who we have in the talk.
Yeah, it is showing on LinkedIn, and we are broadcasting to our Facebook group too. So we'll just go ahead and hope that folks can get through with their questions. And again, we'll do more of these if we're having challenges getting folks to access. But I'm starting to get little messages trickling in that people are able to see it. So we're good. We'll do what we can here.
Cool.
So Amy, I am a, you know, entry level, new to cyber. Maybe I've worked in another field. Maybe I've got my master's in security. You know, I'm approaching this from somewhere. I heard there's 1 million open jobs in security, and I work at, you know, 7-Eleven. So I'm trying to get into something that's a really awesome career path with lots of money and high technology. And what do I do? How do I break in?
Okay. How do you break in is you do more than other people that are in your same position do to have the advantages that will bring forth your information. What I mean by that is, you know, everybody wants to get it. Well, a lot of people want to get into security, one for the money. That's a big piece of it. But there's a lot of people that are mission based too. Like Lisa and I, we feel like we're doing our part to kind of protect our data and protect our day-to-day lives. So that's a huge piece of it. But if you're junior and there's 1 million other people that are looking at the same jobs that you are, you have to go above and beyond. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but you do. So the junior people that I've placed have essentially done online trainings, A lot of them, a lot of them have set up labs in their home, an in-home virtual lab, so they can practice and do different things. Some folks look on GitHub and go through different scripts and exploits to learn different pieces of it. And you can create your own scripts on GitHub and provide a link to the stuff that you've done on your own. So and there's a place where you could to on your resume. So we'll get to that later. But what I mean is, in terms of the training piece, we have resources available that there's so many free trainings out there right now. SANS even does some free trainings for people getting into cyber. It's just like, do more, do as much as you can to support the fact that you are passionate about this and you want to break into it. You want to have those opportunities. Here, let me show you the stuff I'm doing at home on my own, taking initiative to get into this field or to move into a different role in this field. There's so many resources, and I feel like a lot of people do not realize that or don't have the time to go do some of those free trainings. And what I'd say about that is you got to make the time. You got to make the time. Like, I live by the calendar. I even have like go for a walk on my calendar. Go unload dishwasher. But you have to make the time. So even like 30 to 45 an hour a night after the kids go to bed or whenever you can. But if you're diligent with it, you can put that information on your resume, like what you've done. Here, I attended these trainings, and you list the trainings. Sometimes you can get certifications for free too, with free free cybersecurity training.
Wait, so should people put what they're training if they haven't finished it yet, though, or should they just say like I'm in progress, I'm studying, like, because you don't want to say that you have skills for something that you don't, right? You don't want to misrepresent yourself and then God forbid, you finally get an interview and it's for a job you do not know how to do.
Right, exactly. That's the worst. But like saying in progress is what I usually tell people. In progress. Okay. If you do complete it, though, definitely put completed so-and-so.
Yeah,
so
and the date.
Yes, and the date. So you can list all those things out, but you can also list out different things that you're doing at home. Like we said, if somebody has like a home lab, which is if you're trying to go in the technical route of security, there's a lot of jobs that aren't technical, like government risk compliance. They're not as technical by far. Security project manager, those types of things. But if you're looking for like a technical job, like Lisa said, a pen tester job, for example, there's so many resources out there, free trainings, stuff like that. But there's also the opportunity to build out your own lab. And we actually have a couple things written down. We're going to send out some documents later to any attendees that are here. And we'll do that again when we have a talk on the 31st through Breaking the Cyber. So, but there's things that you can have in your lab. It's not that expensive. There's free programs, things like that. But there's some pieces of technology that would really help set up your home lab in a positive way to be able to go through some of those exercises. I have people that are junior put that on their resume. So, I listed under self-study, and you can put in all the trainings and free trainings that you're doing in progress, and if you've completed them, and then also created a lab at home consisting of this, and this. Did this project on GitHub, and there's a link that shows a lot of you're taking that initiative. You really are passionate about, you really want to do it, and you want to get into it, and you want to do whatever you need to do to get yourself up to speed as quickly as possible to be able to do the job that you're looking to do. And that matters. I mean, when I'm talking to hiring managers and it's a junior person or even a senior person, if it's a technical job, tell me what they have in their basement is kind of the normal time. Tell me what they have in their basement. And but that's really, hey, tell me what you have in your lab. Do you do this on your off time because you're just super into it? That's one of the questions. Yeah, that sounds great. He worked at Wells Fargo and did this and did this. Does he have a home lab? What has he done in the way of like certifications on his own? Does he go to community events, or she go to community events? Those kinds of things are some of the most important aspects of looking at a junior candidate, because again, it shows that positive. And it makes you stand out against all these other candidates that are out there trying to do the same thing you are. So you got to make time, you've got to put in the work, and you've got to show on your resume that you've done some of that work. And a lot of people, where do I put it? Where do I put that information on my resume? It depends. For me, I usually would tell people if they're working at a job right now, of course, have their experience reflected there. But I tell people to put the if they're a junior person, I tell them to put at the top above their actual job, especially if the job does not involve security and the person's wanting to get in it. So put name, address, or whatever you put up there, certifications you have, if you do have certifications, and list of technology you've worked with. And then I would put a category that says self-study or something like that. Self-study. What else have I told people, Lisa? Self-study, outside projects.
Yeah.
Additional
Special
projects.
projects. Yeah.
Additional education.
So I get that question a lot about resumes. So let's just put a definitive answer out there. If we're talking, so this talk is about breaking into cyber. We're talking about people that are newer to the field. Maybe you are not brand new to work. You know, you might not be some fresh face high schooler. That's fine, but you are new to the field. How long should your resume be?
Oh Lord, your resume should be really. I say everybody's like, oh, people still think that the one pager is great. It depends on your experience and your time frame. Like I would say no more than 2 pages.
Yeah.
For the resume. 1 page sometimes is good, but if you're hopefully doing enough work on your own and doing some of these trainings and everything else, you'll be able to be extremely detailed with that, listing out technologies, things like that. And then in the jobs so I would put it above that. If you're trying to break into cyber, I would put self-study or additional education or other interests, other activities, things like that, and then list that in sequence on the top of the resume before you list the job. And then the job that you had, if that job has anything to do with technology, say you're a systems administrator, that is, I mean, systems and infrastructure really is the backbone of security. If you think about it, you have to understand networking and how those things play into it's underlying in all of security is systems and stuff like that. So if you're a systems admin at that job that you're at right now and you want to move into cyber, you would put in the job underneath your description of the job anything you did that was technical in regard to systems or infrastructure. Put the type of technology, worked with blowout firewalls, worked with Active Directory, worked with 365, any of those things. You list the technology out in the body of the job that you have. If you don't, so my big thing is when I look at a resume, I don't want to have, and managers do too, like I don't want to have any reasons that I don't want to have any questions really in regard to their experience. That resume needs to tell me what they have actually done and what they want to do. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I feel like a lot of people that I speak with struggle with that balance between like, okay, I learned it in school, but I haven't done it for work. However, I've done this other stuff at work that I know is transferable, but I don't really know how to communicate that via resume to a potential manager. And in my opinion, I tend to think that's overcomplicating things because what the manager is looking for is the fit for their job.
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessarily going to want to know everything that a person has touched, done, learned, been exposed to. And the overstuffing of resumes has more to do with ATS technology than it does with people not being good at resumes.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely makes it overcomplicated. I just talked to someone just this morning who was like, I applied, I used the recruiter's advice, applied for this job, and she wanted me to stuff the heck out of my resume for the ATS. And then I didn't even get past the first round. So I like butchered my resume and then it didn't even work.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think for people like that are they have the book skills, but not the hands-on skills? Maybe they're doing the labs, but how do they show, the knowledge that they could come in and hit the ground running? Is it like more about the projects that they've done? Like what else could they get into their resume information that might help tell that story?
Yeah, it's definitely the projects and tasks and the technology used to do those projects and tasks. But then if somebody has knowledge from school and they studied, like I always tell people, look, don't put something on your resume that you cannot speak to well, because if it's on there, they're going to think that you know it. So don't fluff it up because they're going to ask you questions about it. But if you did really do systems administration on and work a little bit with Azure, then yes, put that on there. If you walked by something and breathed on it, like Splunk, don't put that on there. I walked by and I was like, okay, I put it on my resume. Don't do that. And as far as the school projects go, you can list out on your education, under your education, projects that you did in school and the technologies you use to do those projects. You can also say things like previous exposure. I've seen that done quite a bit. In school projects, though, if you're really trying to focus on transferable skills, I would list out, especially junior candidate, I would list out specific projects that you did, what technology you used to do them, and put that there because they're going to see that. They're going to see in school, but maybe they won't see it on the next part of your resume, but that's okay. You were clear in what you did in school towards this potential, hopefully, towards this job that you're applying for. So I would say that I always look at projects and tasks underneath education just to see what they've done and see if they got into, see, exposure to technology, things like that. But it's pretty clear if you have the tasks and projects listed and then the job that you have after it, you don't have those things. So it's an understanding that, hey, did this in school or she did this in school. Let me just say she did this in school. So clearly, she has exposure, but she's not a master. So that it would be my answer to that question. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So I'm just stuck in my head, honestly, as you're talking about the third thing here that is the invisible job search superpower, which is networking, and where that fits in a job search / resume, because that's one of the things that may actually be really hard to express in writing, but is actually super important for job searching and getting your career under you, your feet under you in your career, and establishing yourself amongst your, whether it's your technology community, your locality community, like whatever you define community as. It changes because of remote work, but what about the folks that are like, I want to get in and I'm doing all the right things, but I'm just not meeting anyone or like coming up against opportunities? Like, can we speak to the role that networking can play for someone in their early career?
Yes, absolutely. In security, like security people are the most risk averse people in the entire world. And if they weren't, they wouldn't be good security people. I mean, let's just be honest. So they're risk averse. Networking is a huge part of it. So it's community involvement. Go to meetups in your town. Set up an alert that shows you if there is any cybersecurity meetup in your town, you need to go to it. And you can even put member of, ISACA for so-and-so, for this city or whatever it is, or, OWASP membership, things like that. But going to those events, you're seeing people face to face. People are getting to know you as the person and not just from the piece of paper. I always say people don't hire people. And in security, it's incredibly important for people to know who you are and for you to get up there and really dig into that. Get a mentor. Find a mentor. There's all kinds of different programs out there. Cyversity, which we're a big part of, provides you with mentors that really want to do that and help you out. So get a mentor. Go to as many meetups and networking events as you possibly can, because looking at the numbers, most people are finding jobs from their personal network and referrals. So if your network has a ton of high-level security people in it, and mid-level or junior, whoever, then they know you, they can see you face to face, and that creates a much bigger connection. Of course, as we know, we saw with COVID and everything else, kind of tough. But if people see you, talk to you, then they trust you. They know that you are a good person. You're here. You're seeing this event. You want to get better. You want to learn as much as you can and be a sponge. And you want to surround yourself with those kinds of people if possible. And there's a lot of programs, if you just look out there, cybersecurity mentors or things like that. There's a lot of people that want to do that in their later career, because that shows that they can lead people, they can mentor people, they can inspire people. So there's a lot of cybersecurity senior people that want to be mentors. Don't think, oh, this person doesn't have time. That's not the deal. I mean, they'll make the time about it, and it helps them in their career to move forward. So don't ever be afraid of asking for a mentor. It's huge. And that mentor, not for nothing, it's all about networking. That dude or woman probably knows a ton of other people. And if they know you and you're getting mentored by them, they're going to help you to get a job. They're going to introduce you to their people. And again, like I said, cybersecurity folks are just very risk averse. So unless they know you, they're not going to refer you. They're not. They're just, so you got to make an effort to do that, and don't be afraid to ask for mentorship. If one person says no, they don't have time, that's cool. I mean, it's all different, right? So just go ask somebody else. Because I assure you, if you put the effort in and really reached out to different through different avenues in terms of mentors, people will pick you up depending on what's going on.
And understanding what you want, right, is so important. Like, even coming to you, like I did it kind of facetiously at the beginning of this call, like, okay, I want to get into security. What do I do? Well, my first answer is go learn more, because that question is not right. Like, you need some idea of what you want to do. What technology are you interested in? You're not picking your forever partner here. You're not doing the same job for the next 50 years because you said one key word to me today. You're picking a direction. There's 50 different jobs in security. You need to pick a direction. You can pick 2 or 3 and have simultaneous interests, but you can't be interested in all 50 things at once. It's not realistic. And anyone that you approach that you ask to help you is going to put a mirror up and reflect that right back on you. And so that might not feel like help, but the reality is that if we don't know where you want to go, we can't help you get there. And just saying, I want in isn't the thing. Saying, I am interested in these technologies, in these roles, in these types of companies, like just having some form of reference for where you want to go helps me get you there. Like, I'm not the captain, the driver, the navigator, the pilot, the everything. I am a coach. I am here, or Amy, or anyone else that you approach as a mentor. The willingness is there, but we got to see that equal effort met halfway with people who come ready with their questions thought out, with their at least a few ideas to start from, so that I can help point you towards resources or people that are in those fields or communities that service those technologies, right? Like, just saying, I want help. Like, great. I wish I had it in me to help everyone on the planet, but that is not the reality. Who I can help are entry-level job seekers for cybersecurity that have some idea of where they want to go in their career, so that I can connect them with people, groups, events, opportunities, scholarships, what have you. Right? Like,
Yes. Everybody
so
wants into cyber, right? Everybody is like, oh my gosh, it's such a good career. There's so many positions, things like that. But then it isn't easy to get in, because there's so many other people that want to. So like I said, and I'll keep coming back to it, it's, hey, how do I break into cybersecurity? My question is, what have you done to do this yourself? What work have you done? Not in a shitty way, but what have you done towards getting into this industry? Do you do free do you get free certifications? Are you involved in the community? Have you gone out there and tried? Do you know what kind of position you'd be interested in and have a clear path of that? A lot of people don't. because there's so many different roles. Some are super technical, but there's a lot of security roles that aren't technical, and people don't understand that. It's like, oh, I would love to do cybersecurity, but I can't do coding. Well, that's okay. There's like 20 other jobs, 25 jobs, I think, that are non-technical within security. Like we did work for a company. Yeah, we did work for a company, CyberSN, and we worked on a product there. I was an SME on the product, creating like what a job description would be, for example, like for an incident responder as opposed to a security analyst, and then what type of responsibilities are in there, what kind of tools you'd use, and then a career path map. Okay, if you want to be a threat hunter or whatever it may be, here's like a typical way to get into it. First, a security analyst, then you're an incident responder, then you're a threat intelligence analyst, then you're a threat hunter. So like being realistic, you're not just going to, oh, I want to be a threat hunter. Yeah, that's, well, lots of people do. So what are you doing to help that end of getting into those jobs? So that's the biggest thing. I mean, I just hear it all the time. Well, I don't know where to start. That's okay. Well, think about yourself, and maybe there's a lot of things online where you can go on and look at different job descriptions and think about your own personal, your personality, the things that you like to do, things like that, and try to come up with at least a couple ideas. And we're here, to consult with you and to be kind of mentors in our own right in terms of how to break into security and how to get these jobs and secure them. But we also go above and beyond that and help you with kind of the idea of what career paths each position could lead you to. So I have that information. There's a lot of it. So it just depends. Like from the group here, what I would like to see, if possible, is people coming back to us and letting us know, okay, do you know what career path you want to do? If you don't, then we'd be more than happy to sit down and talk with you. I can't like help everybody in the world because got other stuff to do, but I will definitely help people that are trying to help themselves by going the extra mile and doing more than just a candidate that's like, I just want to get into it because I feel like it'd be cool. Yeah, that's great. But what have you done for me lately? Kind of thing. So I'm more than happy to help with that. Lisa and I both are. We've done this for years and look at career paths, what certifications you need for certain jobs, all that kind of stuff. So we can certainly do side consulting, like side conversations with anyone that needs additional information, but do a little upfront work yourself too. I mean, there's a lot of access to a lot of different things. I would love to see from the group what types of jobs these you guys are applying to, what your response rate has been. I would love to see that. I know it's something to ask here, but it's an ask, but I think it's a very reasonable ask. So do you have a position that you're looking towards? Do you want to work in a certain area? What have you done in regard to that? And so far. But if you haven't, and you're just trying to figure out what the deal is and what you'd like, do some research. Look at different things, different types of jobs offer, and in terms of growth, skills, focus, things like that, and then set up a plan. Okay, how am I going to do this? Like I have a plan that we're going to send out, or a guide, so to speak, of like, okay, if you want to be a pen tester, here's some of the things, the certifications and free training that you need. Here's what you should put in your lab. So we have a lot of those guides, but it's really tough if somebody comes in and they're like, I just want to be in cyber, I don't know where. So, based on your previous experience, we could help kind of shape that, help to figure that out with you. However, it's, it's think about it. Everybody wants to get into it. Try to think about what would work for you, and then look online. And we have a list of like free certification stuff, free training that we're going to be sending out after this. But I would love to hear from you guys, anyone that's here, about your experience, what you're trying to do. I don't think there's 1,000 people in here, but if you respond, then chances are we'll come and try to help you. I mean,
the question we have so far is about mentorship, which is fair enough, because that is probably almost more intimidating. There's not really an application you can fill out like, please be my mentor, the way there are for jobs. So someone asked, how do you know if someone can be your mentor? Is there criteria we should use? How do we approach them?
Well, I would say that Cyversity is one of the best places. Cyversity, you can become a mentor there, or you can find a mentor.
Or mentee. Yeah.
So the Cyversity, that's one of the best ones that I know, because people want to become a mentor there. So that's the first place I would go, is Cyversity. I don't know if you put that. Yeah, you did in the link. So
and then I'm actually a mentor and a mentee simultaneously with the WESIS 2023 cohort. So someone posted this morning, WESIS is for everyone. It's not just for women, which is fair enough, because they have scholarships and a very sort of value-packed membership. I'm not on the payroll. But I do get a lot out of my WESIS membership. I was able to not only be part of this mentoring program, which has given me access to like career assessment tools, professional skills development, free books, free events, like live online stuff. There was one ticket that I got that was worth $1,200. And WESIS just got like 100 of them donated to them. So part of the benefit of being partnered up with some of those larger groups is it's almost like when you work for yourself versus when you work for a big company, the cost of your health insurance, like your health insurance cost is like 10,000 times more expensive when you're alone. And when you work for a big company, hopefully you're getting them for free or very low cost. And if you're not, come talk to us. Because we might be able to get you somewhere better. But the difficulty level goes way down when you've got these big groups to leverage, and the cost of stuff, the access to training and tools and courses and blah blah blah, it all goes up when you're in these. So again, not on the payroll, but definitely I have found personal and professional value both coming to me and in my ability to give to others in being a member of some of these groups. And Amy with Cyversity, they're primarily out of Atlanta. So they're involved tons with what she does down there. I'm up near Chicago, and the WESIS Chicago chapter is rocking right now. So check it out if you don't know about us. But yeah, get involved with those locals is super key. And finding mentors there is 100 times easier to the person who asked that question. Not just because there's a formalized program, but just informally. Like I just chat up my president of my chapter for advice. Like, she's brilliant. She's a director of security. She's a mom. She's, an immigrant woman, and she's got this perspective that I just respect the heck out of. And she's someone that I can just ask casually. It's not some formal thing. I don't have to set up some monthly call with her or anything, but I can just be like, hey, I'm putting a talk together. What do you think of this? Is there something I can add? There's so many things in New York, Jasmine. Yeah, I'll message you. And the mentorship piece really can, the hardest part about getting a mentor, honestly, is just sometimes can be just finding them, because once you're in it, like, they're really committed to your success. They are going to challenge you though. So you got to be ready if you're going to go that route, because like Amy and I we went to a meetup dinner in Vegas, and we had a junior person seated next to a very senior technology person. And the senior guy came. He'd been to a million DEF CONs. He had a bottle in his backpack. Like, he came ready. Shout out if you're listening. He's sitting next to this junior guy who's like, I just want in. And he's like, what does that mean? What have you done? Where have you been? Where have you volunteered? Like, they will challenge you. They will put that mirror up and say, how are you helping yourself? Like, help me help you. Right. And it doesn't always feel great, that part of it, but the outcome is worth it if it gets you where you're trying to go, because it does make you ask those hard questions. Better to be asked by a mentor who's friendly and get friendly fire, so to speak, than have it in an interview and be totally flat-footed and not know how to answer and not have any thought that's gone into it or any effort on your part to even, it's such a better answer to say, my mentor and I talked about that. I want to get into more of that, versus, I don't know. Right. I see another question here, Amy. A couple areas I'm interested in are GRC and SOC as an entry. I've met with a director who helped guide me, path ideas. Good job. Also currently taking the Google professional cert. Awesome. That's a great one. Just beginning to do labs. I have a home near ready. So yeah, Tony, you're doing the right things. Is there anything you would add, Amy, to what Tony has so far? Taking some interested in a path, met with someone who's helping, taken on his cert plan, got some labs ready.
You are doing the right things, Tony. And again, just making sure that you're doing those local events or even online webinars with people in security, like YouTube webcast or podcast. All those kinds of things make a huge difference. So I would add that in there, like doing meetups, things like that. I think that would be huge. And then you're just expanding your personal network, which will in turn, hopefully somebody will come up that would be interested in your skills. But you're doing exactly the right things. Exactly. So great job on that. One thing back on the mentorship piece of it, like, where do I find a mentor? So we said cybersecurity, we said some other things out there. I sent a link to Lisa just now about how to find a mentor nationwide. But one of the big things, this is from the National Cybersecurity Alliance, and this is so true. Like, on your LinkedIn, are you expanding your network to professional security people? If you're not, you should. Like, high level people, follow them, try to connect with them, because the best place to find a mentor, cybersecurity and different programs are great, but the best place to find a mentor is your network. That is the bottom line, including professors, friends, family members, people who you're connected with, coworkers, managers, both past and present. Understand that person doesn't owe you the mentorship, but people generally are more open to helping the next generation get into cyber. And having a pre-existing relationship makes the mentorship process a much smoother start. So I would say absolutely. Like, there's a way, I call it spending my connections, like on LinkedIn. Like, I'll sit there and connect or send connection requests to tons of people in security, depending on what I'm looking for at that moment, which usually can be, a cloud security architect, or could be a SOC analyst, whatever it may be. But I continually spend my connections, because they will stop you on LinkedIn and say, okay, you've used them all, so you got to wait. So if you're not doing that to connect with people in security, especially in the field that you want to go into, and expanding your network, you definitely need to do that. That's like the best thing you can do, because then too, you follow them, you connected with them, you see if there's jobs posted, and people are much more apt to talk with you if they are connected with you in the first place. So one of the other pieces of breaking into network all the time, you can look for mentors in your network. Ask, take risks. Nobody does anything cool and get something out of life or whatever they're trying to do if they don't take risks. So take a risk and ask the person. They say no.
And LinkedIn is so valuable because it is one of the only places where you're actually going to find senior technology, cybersecurity people that have any kind of an online social media presence. Something else I've had a lot of success with, shout out if any of my Raíces cyber families in the audience, but Discord is awesome. Discord is where a lot of people from InfoSec have moved post Twitter. They're also on Mastodon and the InfoSec Exchange, which I will post the link to here. I'm not much of a tutor, so I'm not really into the Mastodon thing yet, but if that's where my people are headed, that's where I'll go. I learned how to use Twitter in 2015. I didn't know anything about it, and I figured it out. So if that's what I got to do to get on InfoSec Exchange, Mastodon, or Discord, or whatever, I'm following the community. That's part of it too. Like, being technically proficient in cybersecurity is not only about doing your job on the desk, it's about being able to use technology to leverage and build your network and interact with your community between conferences, between meetings, between, trainings or whatever. And those are the people that you can say, hey, I'm not getting traction with this resume. Can you look at it for me? Hey, can we do a mock interview together? Like, I'm interviewing for this job. I'm really excited and I just don't know if I'm ready. Or, hey, there's a question in here. I have my CompTIA Security Plus. Do I need the CC from ISC Squared? Great question for a mentor. The answer is no. You never need any. But can they help? Sure. Will they help? Not necessarily. If it's free and you have time, go for it. There is no harm in adding things to your cable. However, if you don't have your career path figured out, a mentor in your sights, a couple of resume versions that align to the jobs that you're going for, which I would recommend using Teal. It's an AI thing. It can help you make a bunch of different resumes. I'll post a link to that
Yeah,
too.
put that in there. I love that.
Free. Yeah, and they you can make a bunch of different resumes using AI really quickly. I don't recommend leaning into the AI thing hardcore for your resume stuff, but when you have to make 3 or 4 versions, it can be nice to have some help shortcutting it. Just
Yeah.
make sure you read it really carefully and don't let it say that you have any skills that you don't actually have.
Mm-hmm. Because they will ask you. They will
Yeah,
ask you. If it's on your
and these
resume,
programs
they're
will
asking
add.
you.
They will add. It's called an AI hallucination. It will add crap that's not true. Don't. It's you are responsible if you share things that are not correct or that are plagiarized. So
An
be responsible.
AI, what is it called? An AI
An AI
illusion?
hallucination. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's crazy. There's all kinds of different things that come from using AI, like different, in terms of getting different versions of your resume. But you do. I mean, it is wonky still. I mean, you got to be careful. It'll say all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. Victorious, what is the certification the only way to get into cybersecurity? No, absolutely not. And most of the time, hiring managers, I'm telling you this right now. Yes, it shows some level of, hey, I've done this on my own. Let me, I've proven that I can at least grasp this enough to get a certification. But let me tell you, talking with hiring managers and taking job orders like I have been doing for 23 years, most of the time, like usually there's no certifications required for each cybersecurity job. There's not, unless you work for an MSSP or a product company that you need to have a certification that shows external clients that what they're doing, what you're doing, know that here's a stamp of approval. You have a CISSP, you can be a management consultant in terms of cybersecurity because of that. But typically, secure certifications are never a requirement unless it's like a consulting company or unless it's a management role. And that usually takes like a CISSP, but sometimes it doesn't. So the certification track is good. It's really good. However, it's what you've done on your own time too that matters the most. I'm telling you, because you know what? Anybody can study for a and pass it. I could pass it right now, and I'm not super, super technical, but I could pass it. And people know that. Like I've worked pen tester jobs where managers have said, if they just say they have a CEH, then I'm not even interested. What have you done for me lately? Like, what have you done on the side? Do you do stuff on GitHub? Do you do this kind of stuff? So just keep that in mind. You don't have to pay for these super expensive certifications. Do stuff for free. There's so many free tools out there, so much stuff to access. Find a mentor, go to events, put your stuff that you've done on your own on your resume so people can see it, put it in the right place, which is depending on the person, usually underneath, the name and address and what have you in technology, put it there above the job that you have, if you have something. So, so those are the main pieces. I didn't see that question from Tony. Let's see. Improving your resume or what skills to make a better candidate. Do you agree that this is an idea?
Read it out loud from the beginning.
For okay. I heard an
idea. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I heard an idea about reaching out to hiring managers to get their feedback on improving your resume or what skills to add to make one a better candidate. Do you agree this is a good idea, increasing your chances to land a job or at least building your network? Yes. Yes, I do, Tony. I mean, if you're interviewing with a hiring manager, that it's really hard sometimes to get feedback from hiring managers that have spoken with you, but that follow-up I think is key. I think it's really great. It like extends the relationship. Did you getting the feedback? Was there something in my resume you saw? Was that just being open and honest about really wanting to get better? Hey, look, did you feel like my resume represented what I can fully do? Did you see what, do I need to put something in a different place? Do I need to add something? Things like that. I think that that's huge. If you can get the answers, and a lot of times their managers are busy and they don't want to tell you, but if you're working with a specialized recruiter, typically I'll ask, okay, well, how did the person go? How did the person do? And okay, so what did you like? All right, what are your concerns? and I find out that, and then based on those concerns, I'm like, oh, well, can that be addressed by XYZ? You know, could you give them an online assessment that would show some more of its knowledge? So I always push for feedback so I can tell people, and I'm honest with people too. I'm like, I don't blow smoke or sugarcoat stuff. If somebody said they didn't like your shirt, I'm going to tell you. So, you know, I think that's a great thing to do. It does increase your network, and I feel like it's very important. I think that's a good move, Tony.
Just don't be a pest. That's
No.
my one caveat. Like you can ask anybody anything. Don't obnoxiously, persistently, consistently, unendingly, pester people. That will not play out in your favor. But if you are approaching it, I have a quick question for you. Really appreciated the opportunity and your time. I just genuinely wanted to know. Of course, most people are going to be receptive to that. Will they answer you? 50-50. Like,
50-50.
especially if you're messaging people that are hiring, that are in it and trying to get this job filled. Maybe not, but that's where having a bigger network can be helpful, because you could always go to someone who's in a similar position to that hiring manager and say, hey, I applied for a job. This is the description. This is my resume. Can you think of anything that I could have done to get a better response out of them? Like going to the manager, of course, direct networking, to having conversations with people is great. But if you can't, there are other ways to approach it and get that answer without, having to keep going back. Hey, I really just wanted to know. I really had a quick question for you. Like, we've been in recruiting for a long time. We've seen everything. Most people do not do that, but there are a small fringy section of people that just really, really want to know. And they don't take into account that you're actually chatting up a person on the other side that might be driving. They might have a migraine. They might, they might not be work that day. Like, just be a cool, professional person about it. And 99% of the time, you're going to get a really good professional answer.
That's right.
I see one more good question here. We got about 10 minutes to go. I do want to respect Dave's time, but we got a good one from Jasmine here about the GRC field. And there's a ton of opportunity there. So I want to make sure we get her question answered.
Yes, there are any projects that help you gain experience in GRC. I'm switching over from education and compliance field and really want to position myself for GRC. Are there volunteer options do you know of? Yes, there are. There's a lot of different resources too to be to have free training on the GRC side of it and just get that knowledge. There's free services out there that you can get that will help you to free certs, free training that says, okay, this person at least knows this. They went they went out and took the initiative to do these programs. And then also there's different groups, like where, depending on where you are, Jasmine, I would look for an ISACA meetup. Can you put that in the chat, ISACA?
Yep.
Okay. So ISACA meetups are typically for people that it's a professional association, and it's usually in the realm of it's international, and it's like based on IT governance. So ISACA goes through an acronym, but it's really Information Systems Audit and Control Association. But they do certifications, they do meetups all the time. So that would be my first thing, was to volunteer, yes, but become a member if you can, and then see if those ISACA meetups are in your community. Also, I would say
New York has an award-winning WESIS chapter. In fact, I just connected to them. And one of the things I love about that WESIS chapter is they do what we try to do in Chicago, which is connect with all of the other groups that are in their city. So by getting in with them, you also get like security, the privacy, the risk, the compliance, the leadership, the CISO, the this, the that, the other, and all these other that come together. And pre-COVID, it was a really vibrant community that was really well connected. All of the chapters in New York State were like winning awards for the work that they were doing. So you are lucky to be there. And I would definitely try to get involved with some of the local groups in your area.
Yeah. And then there's also, just so you know, too, there's ISA, ISSA. It's Information System Security Association International. And they have membership even for students, the benefit membership at student friendly rate. So it looks like to me, it's $30 a year to
Some
join
places
this.
it's free too. If you live in an
Yes.
economically disadvantaged area or country, they actually make it no
Hmm.
cost to join. So I
Yeah,
love
a
that.
lot of those. Yeah, so those that the ISA and ISACA, I would
Yeah.
say, are the best associations for GRC related
Yeah.
things. So meetups, things like
I've
that,
I've
and with
genuinely
those.
like almost never been to a better event than an ISSA
Yes.
conference that I went to in Chicago in
Hmm.
May, June this year.
They're
They
awesome.
invited the WESIS Chicago chapter in, which was so lovely of them because we were the only nonprofit that was represented other than their own, and which is fair. And they also had a handful of vendors there that were giving away the coolest swag. And it was on a yacht on Lake
Oh my
Michigan.
God.
It was totally free for students. And they
Yes.
literally were like, if you're a student and you're looking for a job, stand up and wave your hands. Like, we want everyone to know who you are.
Hmm.
Everyone who's here is now your job to get that person and tell them everything you know to help them
Yeah.
out. Like, it's not just that they're like, yeah, you're welcome here. It's like, come here and let me help you.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you want that, you got to get involved with these orgs. That's where those people are staying. Yeah,
Hmm.
the ISACA. Some of these comments might go to some platforms and not others. As Amy said, we'll put a document out that's like got all of these listed, and we'll share it
Yes.
to the Breaking Into Cyber group and our own page.
We'll put it
And then we'll
together and
continue. I don't know that we're not going to do these like every week, but maybe every month is realistic. Maybe more often. We can also do like chat based stuff. So
yep.
just Susan and Amy and I and all the other folks in the Break Into Cyber group, Samir and all the other admins whose names I can't remember off the top of my head. We're all trying really hard to get as much info out to
Hmm.
y'all as possible. And if you think of a better way for us to do that, I'm all ears. Like I want
Hmm.
to get as much reach on this as we can. To that point, please make sure you follow the SecureRecruit page
Please.
on LinkedIn. We want to be able to go LinkedIn live from our page. The part of the reason why it was real screwy Louie today was because it had to go through mine via StreamYard. It's fun with technology
Hmm.
every time. So hopefully next time it'll be a little smoother if we can get our SecureRecruit page numbers up a little bit. Rookie numbers in there. We gotta get those numbers up.
Yes, we
So
do.
we
Please.
can go live there. That'll make it easier to join future ones. And then any questions or follow-up stuff you have, shoot it over. And don't be mad
Mhm.
if I don't answer right away and I make you wait until the next one to get
Yeah,
your
we're trying to do a lot of different, but we really appreciate it. I mean, our mission is like literally, yes, we do highly specialized technical recruiting and security and placement, but like really 40% of our business is geared towards helping the community and working on nonprofits, being part of it, and helping people like you guys get into this field because it's so interesting, exciting. There's things you can do. It's some extra work, but it's so worth it in the long run. So taking these pieces of advice and just you don't have to do everything, but pick out the ones that you want to that you feel like would be relevant to you. It's basically, like I said, the GRC stuff is ISAC and ISA, and then there's so many other resources out there for the technical side. But we love doing this. We love helping the community. And like Lisa said, if you go to these events, these people are very, very passionate about security too. And of course, they're going to do everything they can to, if somebody made the time and made the effort to go to the event, that's huge. And they're going to make the time to talk with you and help you because they want help in the cybersecurity
yeah.
community workforce
You want
too.
to
I
take a
mean, they're working
vacation.
their ass off. They're like, I need some help. But it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, but those things are there's just crazy, crazy valuable. So make sure you do that. I think maybe on the next talk, depending on what response we get in terms of this, I was thinking about doing how to interview to win the job type of talk, just interview
Mhm.
tips in general. So, okay, you got the interview as a junior cybersecurity person. What do you do to do the best job in that interview? So please let us know in the chat if that would be helpful as a next talk. Because there's a lot of things that people don't know that are really key in terms of sticking that interview, making that interview the
Yeah.
best interview it can be. So let
Totally.
us know if that would be another great talk or really anything that you guys feel like you need more information on. That we're here to help, and we are doing this together as a community. You're here with us, so you are part of our community now, and we're really, really grateful to have you and willing to do whatever we can to help move you into cyber as much as possible. So Really
I just
enjoyed this talk today, guys.
I want to give 60 seconds to this link I have on screen because we didn't
Yep.
mention private versus
Mhm.
gov. I had
Yes.
a conversation just this morning with someone who was like, my dream would be to work for CISA. And I was like, well, start on the path. And she was
Yeah.
like,
What
I
the?
can't get the job that gets me cleared, that gets me in for these other consideration jobs. This site right here, the jobs on there, some of them are remote, which is unusual for gov jobs. There's not that many remote. Some of them will actually put you through your security clearance prior to hiring you so that they can clear a field of candidates that they can then pick from to hire. So this is one of the ways to kind of hack clearance, if there is such a thing. And I mean that in the most ethical, respectful way, NSA, if you're listening, to get people that security clearance that will allow you then to be a candidate for those clear jobs, gov jobs. That's just a small portion of what we do, but we do some work with that, and it is its own beast. We will give a talk about gov and getting in and the gov resume and all that stuff later. It needs its own conversation, but just I did get asked just this morning, so I wanted to make sure I slipped this link in right at the end for you folks to check out. It's also got like some learning resources and stuff. But yeah, we'll be back with more.
Absolutely.
I love that idea of the interview tips for the next one. We've got the
Mm-hmm.
Breaking the Cyber panel on August
Yes.
31st, which
Mm-hmm.
Susan has done a better job advertising than I did this so far. So we'll clean that up and make sure that you all know how to find us there as well. And we really appreciate
Yeah.
you joining us here today.
Thanks for joining.
Oh, you broke up, Amy.
I said thanks for joining us today. We really enjoyed it.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. See you in the chat. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.